Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today I'm going to be doing kind of a follow-up on a video that I made a few days ago, or like 2 weeks ago at this point, where I talked about preparation stuff for patch 5.2. In that video I talked about all the things you could do to prepare for patch 5.2 when it comes down to like being able to make your crafted gear as soon as possible. But in that video there were also a lot of people in the comments asking for a specific list of things that I personally prepared myself, what I think is the most important, what should you prepare as well. Of course, do keep in mind this is all coming from a perspective of someone that is going to craft their own gear, so I have all of my crafters leveled, all of my gatherers leveled to make everything myself. And I'm also planning on clearing in the first week. If you're not planning to clear in the first week, crafted gear is not as important as it is for me. If you're gonna clear like week 3 or week 4, and when I say clear, I mean the whole Savage Raid tier, then crafted gear isn't really all that important for you. For me personally it is, because I want to clear in the first week, which is why I also made a lot of extra preparations. I've also prepared a lot of things that could potentially be completely useless, just in case that I can save time on patch day as well, because me and my static are gonna start raiding in the afternoon and we just want to be able to go for as long as possible without having to take breaks to craft gear or something like that. So that is why I just want to prepare too much rather than too little, just in case materials share time slots when it comes down to timed gathering nodes, or when it comes down to gathering some other things like white scripts, yellow scripts, that kind of stuff. So that is why I over prepared a lot of things, just in case that I can save some time on the patch day itself. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, battle thing over here. Both of your tombstones, cap these if you can. If you can't, cap your allegory anymore, because of course there's only 1 week left before the patch goes out. Not the end of the world, because your Phantasmagoria will be convertible into allegory when the patch goes live, because this will become unusable, and when that happens you can always convert it into the new farmable tombstone, which will be allegory at that point when the patch hits on Tuesday. Reason why this is the most important is because you'll be able to use allegory to buy materials to then make your crafted gear. That's why this is probably the most important thing to do. Even if you don't plan on crafting your own gear, if you're planning on asking someone else to craft it for you, grab these things. Even if you're not planning on getting crafted gear, even if you're not interested in Savage at all, cap these anyways, because you'll be able to make a fair amount of money when the patch goes live. These things are in very high demand when the patch goes live, especially on day 1. So you'll be able to make a fair amount of money by just throwing them on the market board, even if you don't care about anything else. So this, for me personally, is the most important thing to prepare before the patch goes live. Outside of that, we still have a couple of other things that you can do. First of all, with scripts. Now, I talked to a friend of mine about this. He doesn't think that there are going to be new crafter and new gatherer books. I'm not 100% sure if there won't be any new ones, so that's why I prepared scripts just to be sure. I also made sure to prepare scripts in case there would be new materials that we need to buy with these scripts. Like for example, if I go to my inventory over here, the Sublime Solution is something that we have used in the past for our gear. It's quite possible that this could be an item that we need for our new gear as well, so that's why I bought a bunch of these, just to make sure that I won't have to spend my scripts on this when the patch goes live, and then maybe if there's new materials that need to be bought with scripts as well, then I won't have to spend them on this Sublime Solution. Continuing that line of thought, I also prepared a few Aether Sands. These were basically the ones that I had lying around. I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on preparing these Aether Sands, for the simple reason that White Gatherer scripts can be turned in for Aether Sands now, so I don't know what Aether Sands my gear will need, if any, in the first place. So that is why I kept my White Gatherer scripts, so that I can just trade these in for the Aether Sands if I really needed them, and then of course if I don't have enough, I can always buy them from the market board, or I can just go gather them myself in some downtime or anything like that. That's why I didn't go overboard with the Aether Sand gathering. When it comes down to normal materials, I did prepare a bunch. Basically, I went through my gatherer list and all of the 2-star materials that you can see over here, the ones that we have here in Vrandic Folklore. These things I prepared as well, just in case they share a time slot with new gear. There's a high chance that this was completely useless and that we won't need any of these. But as I mentioned at the start of the video, if it is something that is a possibility of being necessary when the patch hits, I basically just grabbed it myself, just in case I don't need to spend extra time on gathering them, because my time is limited and I want to spend most of it on raiding itself. I also prepared a bunch of materia to put into that crafted gear, of course, because I'm going to be playing warrior. For progression, it's mainly going to be critical hit and determination stuff, so I have these prepared over here. And then I still have a bunch of cracked clusters down here as well. I believe you can use Sky Builder scripts to turn into materials as well, but that could just be crafter and gatherer material. Not 100% sure on that, but then I still have like Centurial Seals and such that I could trade for grade 5s and grade 6s, which I believe in a previous video I talked about that grade 5s and grade 6s are still pretty good value to put in your gear as well if you run out of grade 7 and grade 8s. But I do think that I will have enough to be able to pentamelt all of my gear. If not, I can always spend grade 6s and grade 5s, or I can always just buy some extra ones because I do have 25 million gil on me, so I should be good when it comes down to the materia department. If not, I can always just buy more from the market board. And then last but not least, I have also prepared some food as well as some potions from this current raid tier. Yes, when the new raid tier comes out, there will be new food and potions, but it is much more important to have the new crafter gear available to you than it is to have the new food and potions available. This is basically the last thing I'm going to be working on. First thing that I'm going to be doing is craft my gear, then I'll probably be raiding quite a bit, and then when I have the time to make food and potions, that's when I'll be making those. This is basically the least important to me. 29 is quite a bit because I'll also be able to combine this with my rationing manual from my squadrons. If you don't have this, you can always use the free company buff, which is meat and meat, which if you can see in the actions over here, meat and meat extends it by 10 minutes. Squadron buff is stronger because it extends it by 15 minutes. But you do need to have your squadrons leveled up to get these things. As you can see, I might have a few too many, but this will basically extend my food duration by quite a bit, meaning that these 29 servings are going to be going quite a long while, so I shouldn't have to craft new food until like day 3 or something like that, and by that time I should be able to have new food anyways, so that I don't need to keep using my old stuff. So those are pretty much the things that I prepared myself. If you need something for most important, list real quick. Basically, tomestones, most important, materia, very important, old food, old potions, kind of important as well. Outside of that, anything extra is just a bonus, like for example these crafter and gatherer scripts. These are things you can prepare when the patch hits as well, if you see that you need them. If I don't need them, then well, this is wasted effort, but I would rather waste some effort right now than having to spend extra time when the patch goes live, where I would much rather spend that time doing other things instead. So that's why I gathered those. And then of course you also have the old materials as well as the Aether Sands. You can prepare these as well just in case. Again, highly doubt that I will be needing all of these, but just in case I do, I have prepared them anyway. So that's pretty much going to be it for the list. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section down below and I'll definitely get back to you. But on that note, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my patrons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.